Hi there and welcome to Planet Zoo. So, we have the new South America DLC that arrived this week, and I've got to say it's a fun little pack. There's a lot of new building pieces, so we've got some colourful tropical themes to work with, and we've also got a heap of temple stuff. Now, the temple pieces are great to work with because it really doesn't take much effort to get them to look good. So, I recommend checking those out. If you find that you struggle with making buildings look interesting, the temple pieces are a good place to start. Anyway, so today I've been working on a habitat for one of the new animals added in the DLC, the llama. Llamas are a quintessential part of Peru, so I wanted to explore how I could convey Peru in my build. Now, the Andes run right through the country, so it's pretty much all mountainous. I really wanted to get a sense of that scale in my build, so my idea was to make a kind of mini-map of Machu Picchu. I figured that'd be fun to explore, like terraforming the land and the habitat, and having this tiny scaled down replica for the llamas to walk about in. Machu Picchu, if you're not aware, is an Inca ruins built on the ridge of a mountain in the Andes. The land forms an iconic shape around the ruins, and Machu Picchu itself was built in levels following the shape of the land, so it's pretty iconic. I figured I should at least give it a go to make something that should be recognisable. Now, Planet Zoo have been super helpful in that they've given us a new map layout for the South America biome, and that is basically just one huge mountain surrounded by forest. I mean, honestly, it's pretty impressive, but it only works for very specific builds. I wanted to make this enclosure more versatile and user-friendly, build it so it can sit nicely in many zoos, not just the South America biome. How I've built this, I'd say the only biomes this habitat wouldn't work in are the snow one for obvious reasons, and the desert one because the colour palette of the desert biome is just way too different for this to work. So when I started building this, because the mountains are so high, I've dropped the starting level of the land in the enclosure a little bit. That gives a better sightline for guests. So you have a sort of pit with the mountains in the middle. Then I've got a custom barrier running all the way around this. For that, I've used a new clear glass piece, and to be honest, I can imagine hundreds of people are going to be using that glass piece now to make their barriers as well. A very, very useful piece that's been added to the game, and a lot of us are super grateful for that. Another thing to note about the terrain here, Machu Picchu has rivers running either side of it at the base of the mountain, and that works quite well in the enclosure too. I was worried that I wouldn't be able to get the terrain to slim down enough to look like a small river, but I think it's generally come out okay. Funny thing about the Planet Zoo terrain editor tool, it comes in various sizes from like 1 to 20, and 20 has got like this massive circle, and 1 is a tiny circle, but the number 1 circle never works properly. So for this build, I've had to make do with the number 2 and the number 3 circles. And so, like in various parts of this video, you will see me struggling a little bit with that. Something else I was aware of in this build, which I've kind of forgotten about in previous builds, was a sense of scale. Now, I have no internal sense of scale, so when I start building, it always ends up 4 or 5 times bigger than it should be. So for this build, I noticed they've added a new llama statue, and the llama statue is pretty much the same size as the llama in the game. So you will occasionally see in the video as well this like floating gold llama that's just sat there, and that's why it was for me to get a sense of scale so I didn't make the enclosure too big again. I mean, once the barrier was up, I was able to put the real llamas in, and that helped a lot. But before the barrier went up, I wanted to make sure I was working on something that wouldn't have to be scaled back later on. So to make the Machu Picchu scale model, I used the smallest new temple block that they got, the new temple beam. And if you look at it up close, yes, it does look like a block of stone. But from a distance, it doesn't look too bad. And obviously you have to consider as well that the barrier for this enclosure is quite a way away from the model itself. So I think it passes that test. In all, this was quite a nice build, and it only took me 6 hours to complete. I know for some of you that's probably way too much time, but compared to my usual 20 odd hours to make an enclosure, I am super happy this one got done so quickly. I have tested it as well to make sure it's functional. So the llamas are quite happy in here. The terrain is fine for them. There's the right type and amount of plants. My only problem with the plants is that because this is representing a scaled down model, I couldn't use trees as they're simply too big. So there's a lot of bushes around that are meant to represent tiny trees. Also, this last bit here, even though the game was telling me that they don't need a hard shelter, I did build one for them because, you know, they need somewhere to get out of the rain. Just really didn't feel right leaving them without any shelter whatsoever. And there you have it, Machu Picchu in miniature scale. The llamas seem happy enough with the habitat. Now I need to make a choice. Is this a one-off build, or do I do more with the same theme? Who knows, I could have a whole zoo of habitats of scaled-down models of outstanding areas of natural beauty from the countries the animal originates. Not completely sold on that idea though. I kinda got lucky with this one because those temple block beams were really easy to use for this. Might not have it quite so easy if I was to say build the Taj Mahal or something like that. Yeah, I'll put a pin in that one for now. Anyway, that's all from me today. So I hope you liked the build, and it is now available on the Steam Workshop if you want to take a look for yourself. There's a link to that in the description below. So thanks for watching, bye for now.